Hey everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and we've got an awesome FedEx package to open up and check out what's inside. I'm pretty sure there's tons of different world and ancient coins in here, and I can't wait to tear it open and get into some of the history. I'm going to go lot by lot, and I'm often going to do a little bit of research before I unbox a lot so I can comment on it and give you a little bit of that historical perspective that I think is so important here. Let's open up the coins and see what's inside. So let's get into this first lot. It's going to be a bunch of awesome French écu denominations, and this is a denomination that is first issued in 1266 in gold, and it takes until the 16th century, the 1500s, until the testin is replaced by the écu, a large silver coin. It then gets more standardized under Louis the 14th. This is not Louis the 14th. This is l'an 4 de la liberté, the fourth year of liberty, and it shows, I think this would have been 90s. Yeah, 1792. Oh my gosh, it's right in front of me. These écus are a bit cleaned often and have some scratches, but he was the guy who married Marie Antoinette. He gets executed and beheaded during the French Revolution. Super historic coin and very interesting. This is the earlier King Louis the 15th, who rules from 1715 to 1774. This is towards the end of his reign. I forget what L, maybe Lyon, stands for, but this is a classic example. Some adjustment marks. I don't think those are scratches. References being the King of Navarre, the Spanish province, and just generally interesting coin. Next up we have, this should be the 5th year, and this one is going to be, looks like it even was maybe holed and plugged, but another French Revolution era coin, sort of reign of terror, first French Republic. You would not have wanted to be walking around the French streets back then. I think it was totally mayhem. This is another one of the Louis the 16th. This one's 1789. Actually pretty nice looking coin, and I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with this one. I don't think so. Has clearly engraved by Duvivier, and you feel like a wealthy Frenchman walking around with all these on you. Here we have King Louis the 14th, 1709. It looks like there's some, maybe it was like X mount. I think it must have been mounted right here. And just trying to call out any issues on the coins as I see them. Otherwise, though, fantastic item. This is Ludovicus Magnus Rex. He was the Sun King. He built the Versailles Palace, and he really centralized power through a lot of taxation and kind of wars to expand the kingdom. And then over here, I think this is a younger, also well adjusted, but just a younger portrait, 1738. Yep, much younger, about 30 years earlier than this one. And this one isn't even like the old portrait for King Louis the 14th, and a cool horse privy mark down there. A little bit more cleaned on this one, really polished up well. 1771, a bit later on, with the I mint mark. Pretty sweet. And then it looks like we've got two more to close it out. We've got one of the executed 16th, 1785, and then over here, looks like a bit of a die crack, as that one, a lot of coins were struck there. 1728, awesome, really early with a Q mint mark. So I wonder if that one's a little bit better. Love that mix of écu to start things out. Next up, we'll move, I think, to a couple ancient coins. And we switched up the lighting for this, but the next group I think is pretty awesome. It's really a focus on Roman coins. So we got two tetradrachms, maybe three of them, of Vespasian, who basically, after a challenged period where Nero reigns from 54 to 68, you then have a couple different ones from Otho, Galba, Vitellius, but he's really going to put an end to the Judean revolt. And this one's actually a pretty nice looking coin, LB. I think that B is going to stand for this second regnal year of Vespasian. He starts the Flavian dynasty, and he's really just like a normal ruler after some excesses. And actually over here we have a rarer Otho coins. He commits suicide after he loses to Vitellius, who Vitellius doesn't last that long either. but this one's definitely a slightly better tetradrachm. Really nice coin, great piece of history. And so over here, I think these two are also of Vespasian. One being, I think that they're both kind of diables. Maybe, the person I bought them from thought that one of them was a tetradrachm, but I'm going to go with both being diables. Basically, copper coins, but they're still in really nice, they have a great look to them, I would say. These two are Titus, so Vespasian rules through 79 AD. His son takes over in 79. He dies of plague in 81. He deals with Pompey's eruption, and he finishes the Colosseum that Vespasian started. So, pretty important historic ruler. Then we have Antoninus Pius. So that's the Flavian dynasty. The 5 good emperors. Antoninus Pius would certainly count among them, and he ruled from 138 to 161 after, would have been Hadrian who had built Hadrian's Wall. He built the Antonine Wall up in Britain, and so widely regarded as a good ruler. He adopts, these are 3 of his tetradrachms minted in Alexandria. That should be Serapis, and we then get into the awesome rulers who came after him. On the left, believe this is going to be Marcus Aurelius, just a fantastic tetradrachm of his, as well as Lucius Verus in my right hand, he's the Stoic philosopher. He fights the Parthians and writes meditations against Stoic philosopher. Lucius Verus is, I think, well regarded, but he dies fighting against the Parthians in the Parthian War. I think he dies of plague. Maybe it's not all at the same time. And then up here, so those are tetradrachms in lower percentage outside those 2 diables. These are Antoniani right around the time that they're getting debased. Gordian actually started ruling at a mere 13 years old. Here we have Eternitas. On the other, it's the protector of emperors, Iovi Conservatori, and he is ruling at a time of a lot of turnover in the empire. He's killed, I believe, in a coup. We've got Providentia holding a globe on the reverse there, and that one, I'm not sure exactly. It's like Secule, but then it says Felicitas. So still don't know all the different reverse types. There's another Gordian, but there's a lot of debasement. This is when the Antoninianus, there's Victoria or Victor Aether, which I think would be like Eterna, over here. And this is a slightly rarer from Venus, a denarius of Gordian. But basically they moved from the denarius, which was valued at 1 kind of silver denarius, and then they tried to do the Antonianus, which was supposed to be worth 2 denarii, but it didn't have the required silver content. There's some interesting die cracks, but a Philip the Arab, he rules after Gordian, who's potentially killed in a coup. It looks like Fides, Exercitas, and Annona. These are actually in pretty nice condition. In my mind, as much as a lot of ancients collectors wouldn't like to hear it, thinking about, should I potentially grade some of these? Not the one on the left, but ooh, some gorgeous blue toning. Don't see that as frequently. Fantastic. And then this one is a Philip as Caesar. So that is likely Philip II, who rules approximately 247 to 249, right around the secular games 1000th anniversary of the Roman Empire. We'll keep moving. I want to figure out a little bit more context behind some of the other lots I'm going to unbox. In our next little group, I hadn't done too much research on, but it's Kavad the First, and these are all of them in his second reign, but super interesting Sasanian ruler. These are the Zoroastrian identity-focused kind of Persian descendants, and so the Parthians, which are basically it goes the Persians, Cyrus, some of the classic rulers, they get conquered by Alexander the Great. The Parthians who come after them are much more Greek in origin. And then by the 3rd century AD, you have the Sasanians who are more Persian again. And so again, Zoroastrian fire altars on all the reverses. These were struck between 498 and 531 under Kavad, who actually, I think he was kicked out for a little bit and pushed way east to get the support of the Huns and then come back and rule over, reconquer the people that kicked him out of his Sasanian authority. And so he fought a lot against the Byzantines, who were the descendants of the Eastern Roman Empire. He had a reform of all the taxation, and he at first supported kind of like a communist movement, but then suppressed it, called Mazdakism. So that's on this one. I'm going to get some of the world coins out next. And here we've got the last of the world coins. I have a couple metals and then a big group of metals and mixed coins from Italy. But in terms of some of these, let's maybe start with, I think these would be interesting, Philip the Second. So we got a bunch of his, I think these are Philip the Second. That one immediately looks like it's got the 3 in front of it. So that actually could be slightly incorrect. But I think a lot of these are kind of Belgian states, and it's interesting how strong Belgium is at a lot of points in history. Definitely a large world player. Not to say that they aren't today, but I think even just in terms of the relative size of their country, we got a mix of interesting denominations. I think that would be like a shilling, but I could be totally wrong. I think some of these are like Patagon denominations, and a lot of these are going to be 1590s. This one is pretty interesting. It kind of looks cut down almost. Not sure what's going on with it. It could have been cut. It also just could have been a smaller denomination. Don't have tons of info, but these are a couple different types of interesting Indian phantoms, and these are gold coins. They literally mean gold. Often they're kind of like 60% pure or so, and gold's gone up a good bit since I bought them, which is great. Here I think these are like Tipu Sultan. That one might be a new one. This kind of looks like that one. I don't see any of the Kanathrava type, so it could be some new types of phantoms, which was exciting for me. And then up here we got a wide variety in terms of just what we were kind of working with. So over here, this is like a imitation. So this is not actually what, this is not a real coin. This I think would have been, let me see, I know I wrote it down somewhere. A Merovingian Trian coin of Hoi. And then this one is going to be also Carolingian. But again, both of those modern silver reproductions. This one is the first one, Philip the First of Savoy. He was the Bishop of Valence and Lyon. A lot of them have the Châtel Tournois type. And so this one's in pretty good condition, and it's almost like a castle, I believe, and then a cross on the reverse. After that, we're going to have one from Count Louis of Mail. This one has a nice line on the front, great reverse cross, and he fought against the Flemish cities and some of the revolts, and then his daughter married Philip the Bold. A lot of nice, again, clear cross types. I think this one would have been a half groschen, while the previous was a groschen. And then this is a 2 groschen in the 1400s of the Burgundian Netherlands. So this is Duke Philip the Good. Very nice fleur-de-lised type, and struck again in the mid-1400s, as was this. Actually, this was not. This is way later on, Albert VII and Isabella, a quarter Patagon. So kind of like the early 1600s, 1612 to 1620. We have Archduke Leopold the First, who was a pretty well-known Austrian Empire. This one's a 3 kreuzer, 1672, in really nice shape. So big fan of that. Maybe a little bit of cleaning on there to look out for. And then this one was a 1751. Kind of looks, it's like Leopold Duchy. I'm not exactly sure who it would have been, but I think this one actually looks copper, as does this French Louis XVI 12 denier, but they've been kind of aged or plated to look silver, which is kind of silly. And then last but not least, just so I didn't do research on these. I purely bought them because they're beautiful. Couple of French silver medals. The Royal Society of Agriculture and Botany. Thought that these were insanely nice and great, just metallic artwork. So had to pick them up. We got some larger and some smaller size medals. They remind me a lot of like pattern US coinage, and so I figured that I do have an eye for resale on a lot of these, that they would go over well. These are Leopold II, major human rights abuser, but definitely appears on a lot of the coins as toned in an interesting way, much nicer on the reverse than the obverse. And then we have, I think, one other medal, and then this one, I'm not sure who it's. Okay, this is Leopold I, who reigns until around, I want to say like the early 60s, late 50s, somewhere in that range, but it has the same kind of theme, it looks like, in terms of what's being shown there. I don't know if it's quite reused dies or not, but pretty interesting. And then the last group we can kind of pour out was a bunch of papal stuff. So let me see. I'll just kind of unbox it out of my hand. 1812, there was a ton of Napoleon in this group, which is why I bought it. 3 centesimi of the Napoleonic rule of Italy. How cool is that? We have Leo the 13th, the Pope, some very nice themed medals. That one is from 1900, MDCCCC. So earlier, but not way old. This one is Leo the 12th. Much older, though. I bet that one is struck after, technically, it wasn't struck in the very long time ago era. Here are some Lombardian Venetian coins, 1808, 3 centesimi, again from Napoleon, which is just awesome. And we got a couple more 1810 Napoleonic types. There's a better shape one from 1808. And then we just have some great more papal type items. 1877, Pius the 9th. That one looks old. Leo the 12th, 1826. Loving these papal medals. They're so interesting, and I really have to do better to learn all the papal history, because there's a lot of great coins that were struck in their names, as well as just the Papal States series in general. Here's a Pius, looks like the 10th or the 9th as well. Not sure when this would have been struck, but the largest medal of the group, of the entire order, in fact. And we're just pulling out a couple more. St. Francisco, that's a great 1875 heart-shaped medal, or heart-themed medal. A lot of beautiful engraving on these, and it looks like we're going to get a great mix of more Napoleonic stuff. That one's Napoleon for sure, 1808. That one's nicer condition, 1810. I'm just excited. And then after Napoleon's reign, and it's back to Lombardy and Venice. So some great papal items, some awesome Napoleon, and a couple of earlier kind of Italy before it becomes Italian states, but when it's free of the French reign. There's Leo the 13th. Again, that one looks like it's going to be 1887. So maybe some of these are older than I would have thought. 1878. Loving the age and just how interesting a lot of these are. Awesome. Well, that's a great hunt. Really enjoyed the unboxing, and I will bring you the next ones. I have a couple other groups that I'm dying to unbox for you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to head on over to treasuretown.com and sign up for our email list to stay up to date on everything that's happening, whether it's auction updates, exciting new inventory drops, coin collecting news, or general informational resources. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on another one.